Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to MSI 2025. We are in the middle of our best of 5 elimination series between BLG and Flyquest. BLG wanted to come out swinging with On's undefeated Nico, which has now been defeated. Flyquest up 1-0 in the series.
It's a strong start to the series, but Kobe wisely recognized that we've seen this a few times this tournament.
We have indeed.
We'll see how things pan out in game 2, but I think that Flyquest came in with the right approach. And the first thing I said coming into this game was I don't want to see Flyquest get sucked into the play style of BLG, which is that they love to fight, they love to skirmish, they love to brawl. But the moment that they got 2 early kills by making a gank happen in the top lane, and then they responded to a gank in the bot side of the map, they started with 2 kills, and Inspired said, screw it, we ball. And immediately it's just skirmish, fighting, non-stop action. And I think that they handled the pressure beautifully, because as a spectator, it's stressful going from objective to objective to objective. But Flyquest navigated it very well. And we'll see now how BLG adapt as we go into game 2.
Yeah, Flyquest have always been a team that are really on the same page with how they want to play the game. And a lot of that view does come from Inspired as a big leader within the team. And both him and Whippo, you know, attacking the enemy flankers, attacking the enemy, on and night, constantly looking for those advantages and then setting up the team fights. Definitely was a very promising looking game number 1. But let's see about the changes here as we go into Fearless and we start to get a little bit deeper. The Galio ban, quite interesting, is going to raise the value on that Rumble.
All right, that's exactly what I'm thinking. They're over on blue side now for the side of BLG. They're going to ban out Quads Cassiopeia. They're going to ban out Azir just as a general ban. And the Galio tells me they probably want to slam a Rumble first pick there for Bin in the top lane. And immediately Flyquest picks up what they're putting down. They'll ban the Rumble alongside TF and Varus.
The Vi and the Pantheon. Going into this game too, I said to Kobe, oh, you got to really be careful about Pantheon. If you give that to BLG, that's a really scary thing to do. And now BLG have got their hands on the Pantheon. I think it's the best jungler on the patch right now. It plays with pushing lanes extremely well. And it's just such an incredibly good jungler at getting onto the AD carry specifically. And with Ezreal gone, we'll see how Flyquest navigate.
Exactly. Trying to think of what sort of carries can stay safe. Now, Annie Wukong is just one of those peanut butter and jelly combos that we have seen so frequently within the meta. Holy, let's go!
Kangas is here.
Kangas, the Flyquest Hulk.
He told me that you couldn't see it because the graphic was in the way, but it didn't just say fly, it said fly 3-0. So he's got full faith here for the North American team.
Part of the reason, though, that Annie and Wukong, we don't even talk about it sometimes because it's so good, is because it reduces the value of the Merc Treads. When you look at Annie and the big AoE stun, of course, coming through, then people are going to want to build Merc Treads and Tenacity to deal with the magic damage and the stun, and then Wukong just complements that so perfectly with the AoE knockup, and then, of course, the attack damage goes without saying there. So that's why that is one of the most potent combos there for team fights.
Now, Knight is known for a lot of champions throughout his career. Victor is not one of them. That's not to say that he's a stranger to the champion, of course. Like many top mids around the world, he is a very good Victor player, but relative to a lot of the picks that he is especially known for Flyquest, I think they should feel pretty happy seeing Knight on Victor, because it doesn't quite have the same playmaking potential that so many other mid laners do. And by doing so, you're also opening up that blind pick Renekton that Whippo finally is able to get his hands on.
I will say it is definitely a bit of a rough matchup for Annie with the poke damage that comes through, and then the ability, like you said, when Pantheon jungle is threatening your lane and threatening Annie, if you have a Pantheon stun into a very easy gravity stun from Victor, that can pose some problems. So we'll see about that wave control mid. It definitely is set up here for BLG. As we see, though, there's that blind pick Renekton. We're talking about it last time around. Very good for Whippo, very good for Flyquest, and now they're just protection banning for it a little bit there with the Jace, possibly a Gnar or something to follow it up.
Also, Jace works wonderfully with Pantheon, a split push threat that Pantheon can then come to assist in the blink of an eye with a Grand Starfall, a nasty combo. Since BLG already have their support and Flyquest don't have theirs, it's double support bans from BLG in the second half of the draft with Rakan and Alistar banned away, as Flyquest will go ahead and levy their second ban up towards that top side as well, removing the Cassante option for Bin.
It's likely looking to be a Gnar to come through from the side of BLG. I mean, they've already got great engage. I'm curious as to what AD carry. They could consider something like a Kai'Sa if they want a little bit more dive. If they want a little bit more protection, they could go in the direction of the Xayah. I like that they removed some of the engage.
Ah, but Kalista has been such a bait. Oh,
0 wins, 8 losses at MSI 2025. Last game, Flyquest gave Ons Nico its first loss of his career, but this game they would have to do something even more impressive and give Kalista her first win of MSI.
I gotta be honest, Flowers, that is the single champion in the entire game that I wanted to see least.
We were literally talking about.
Okay, but they can still try and look to stack Drakes with it. The idea is, of course, you know, why the teams still have been going for this Kalista Renata lane. You know, you do have a lot of all-in potential, and you do look to stack Drakes and try and use your Annie Wukong core that you drafted for early on. So while it does give a lot of people some worries, as we have, you know, seen the Kalista get poked out, part of the reason they pick it here is because the Rel was picked so early, you at least know that there isn't going to be some super oppressive double range lane that you're playing into. So even though I have that first visceral reaction, we stabilize, it actually could be fine.
I think BLG's composition scales well. They've got a good late game team fighting comp. You've got both Corki and Victor. You've got a lot of poke at your disposal. You've got great backline threat as well with both the Pantheon and the Ornn. And so they have a lot of ways to approach these team fights, which we know is the current meta. For Flyquest, I think that they spike really hard in the mid game. And if it is going to be a super skirmishy type of game, then this composition really thrives, because in the 2v2s and the 3v3s, Renekton, Annie, Wukong, Kalista, Renata, these are champions that all really succeed in those skirmish environments. So as long as Flyquest can take the fights at the right time and place, then they definitely should have the edge.
And that's exactly why, Vedius, I say dragon stacking is the name of the game for Flyquest here. So they can utilize that to draw in BLG and try and play to that mid game.
All right, let's do it. Can BLG's traditional powerful scaling comp outlast Flyquest's big mid-game spike like you're talking about, that wants to scrap, that wants to skirmish? Last game, we saw both teams ready to skirmish constantly. We'll see how adept BLG might be at trying to slow things down here in this one.
30 seconds until minions.
All right, how cursed is Kalista?
So
Let's
0
see.
and 8.
I mean, the main reason is that we're in a meta of team fighting, and I think she does terrible into tanks. And so especially a champion like Ornn, it's hard for her to have an impact.
All right, while we're waiting for the action to start, we've got Laura standing by for an interview with I Will Dominate.
Dom, thank you so much for joining me. Tell me how it's been, the first game, the atmosphere, the Flyquest win.
It's been amazing. I mean, I think Inspired literally played like a perfect Sejuani game. I don't know the last time I saw Sejuani just take over a game like that. Like, he just didn't miss an ult, and even if he did have an ult that like somebody had to flash, it was always good. So it was quite literally a perfect game from Inspired, but Flyquest in general.
We have been used to game 1 and this so far from the West, so do you feel like they showcased enough so far to take the series?
I think so, and also they got a lot of champions out that BLG is particularly good at. Like, BLG plays more MF, they play more Aurora, and those are champions that I think could be crucial for BLG later on in the series. So they got those out and they won. It's like a perfect situation for Flyquest so far.
All right, what about the draft? Do we like that Kalista? I saw your reaction.
No, I don't like the Kalista. I don't like the Renata. I wanted to see Bard. I thought that like Busio Bard could have been really good in this game. If they picked like Jhin and then Bard on 5, I would be really happy with that. I'm a little bit scared for the Kalista, not gonna lie.
All right, let's hope it goes well. Dom, thank you so much. I'm gonna let you enjoy your stream, and casters, back to you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all very much. Dom, I'm right there with you, buddy. I think most people are concerned about Kalista at this point, given her performance so far at the tournament, but we'll see what Masu is cooking.
Just a general uncomfortable feeling when you see this champion on your screen.
I would describe it as, ugh.
Okay, though, we'll see about these the dragon stacking, though. Okay, so Of course, as well, when you have the Wukong jungle, Wukong, of course, is going to be much more scaling than the Pantheon has a lot better early options. So Flyquest also have to worry about some of the early jungle pathing there. Should just be the full clears for both of them, but definitely some options for Beichuan.
Yeah, and you can see the ward that Flyquest put in the enemy jungle. They could see that Beichuan was starting on the top side, pathing towards bottom, so Bwipo had the confidence to go between the turrets and proxy that wave.
Yeah, and they know, he's probably going to be looking around the bottom lane and mid lane. So they should have Inspired Shadow and be just fine.
Okay, so as we find ourselves in a bit of a slower early game, no crazy ganks just yet. I think it's important to recognize how Flyquest have even gotten to this point. I know coming into this tournament, one of the things that both of you gentlemen talked a lot about domestically was how unified this roster was, how long that they've actually been playing together. And just as I say that, they engaged.
Yeah, immediately, Masu and Busio got to deal with some aggro from On and Elk down here, with Beichuan also hanging around, Inspired nearby too. This could turn into a big battle very quickly. As Inspired going to use the Scryer's plant there, but he takes a ton of damage from Beichuan very quickly. Pantheon just such a powerful jungler, whether he's playmaking or skirmishing.
Yeah, and that's the bottom lane visit that we were looking for from the junglers. So BLG will use that to get double Scuttle Crabs for him. Currently, too, you have a proxying Renekton on your screen at the moment. So Bwipo loves to do this because you get an extra 30 seconds when you get the minion wave ahead of time. And so he's moving in for a little bit of a timing advantage. Puts down his ward and...
Oh, immediately though, On and Elk going in, Masu in danger, the Callista, the bailout could proc here as Elk tries to get away over the wall, and the first blood is there. Flyquest can't bail Masu out in time. Busio needs one more hit to make it a 1-for-1, but now On hits the Shattering Strike. Busio levels up to 4. Rel versus Renata, this has to be the lowest damage 1v1 in League of Legends. I don't think it's going anywhere else.
I think people are feeling even more uncomfortable, Vedius, looking at that, because Masu tried to use his flash to be able to go for, you want to get the bailout and then you use your rend to burst for the kill, but they were unable to actually get that kill. So big dub there for Elk because he actually got credit for the kill. Meanwhile, Busio had to clean up on the other side, so the Callista didn't get the lion's share of the gold.
Couple things happened there as well. I think we saw Inspired steal away the blue buff. I didn't track if he actually took it away or not, but also Quad rotating to the bot side of the map to catch this wave. Oh, just beautiful engage from On. Connects the stun, gets the crash down as well. And as you rightly said, Masu's thinking to himself, if he can just get one more spear in, maybe that would be enough to secure the kill and come back to life. Bwipo forced the flash.
Yeah, wow, Bwipo taking a beating there from Bin's Ornn, and you can see that the teleport cooldown is still a very, very long way away for Bwipo. Bin level 6 on the Ornn, has the Call of the Forge God ready to go. Bwipo knows this is dangerous, so as much as he doesn't want to, he's got to channel the recall.
I want to note the lane assignments as well. So because of the death timer, they actually rotated Quad down to the bottom side, as you can see.
Yeah, Quad now taking a ton of damage himself as Elk valks forward, and Flyquest mid laner now down to 200 HP. He didn't have to flash, but again, that's both solo lanes of Flyquest being forced out of the lane they currently occupy without a teleport to get back.
And I blame Callista. That started the rotations out. Now they're going to rotate back, but it is going to mean Quad goes back to base first. And you look at Knight. Knight is already level 6 on that Victor, and BLG are already taking over vision control, leading up to the Dragon and the Dragon itself.
I think there's a number of cascading things as well. The fact that the Wukong path bot and mirrored the Pantheon, and then Beichuan just said, no, I'll fight you, steals away both the Scuttle Crabs. You can see that he's built up a pretty healthy jungle camp lead, and then even though Flyquest, the Wukong is continuing to clear camps, the cost of that is the Dragon. Bot wave control converted into jungle pressure. Oh, ulti drop, just for a bit of trade damage.
Yep, tempo tibbers.
Yeah, Quad suffering a bit in the CS because of the little rotations over.
But ultimately, Flyquest find themselves in a kind of losing a little bit of control in this early game. Now, it's not the end of the world. We talk about these first items being big spikes for these champions, especially Blade of the Ruin King on Callista, and ideally the Trinity Force on the Wukong as well. So I think that Flyquest are still looking towards that second dragon, maybe even the first grub spawn, to find a window to force some good fights.
Really good use. We were just seeing on screen too, on using that brush and the burst threat that comes from Hex Flash Rel on positioning far up. You can see some of the CS getting denied from Masu. He has to be very safe, just sniping from afar because Corki here with so much burst damage to follow up the CC and then engage from on really is threatening.
All right, Flyquest, we'll see if Kalista and Renata can bounce back and find what they were looking for early on here.
Plus, they also have the ward on blue buff, so Flyquest are communicating right now, hey, Beishwan is not taking his blue buff. He might be looking bottom side, so Flyquest have it in their minds.
There it is, Beishwan arrives and Busio's about to die. Masu wants to get away, Busio thrown back out on top of him, a nice handshake. Masu and Busio escape the play.
So I say they have it in their minds because the blue buff is warded and he's not on it, so they do act accordingly. It cost them their ultimates though, Vedius.
Certainly did. The cleanse also expended. Whippo looking to continue his proxying where he's been. He holds the wave in a nice spot, making it harder for him to cross past the tower. But we're seeing another one of the weaknesses of not only Kalista, but also giving over the Pantheon. Pantheon is just the strongest jungler on the patch. And Beishwan, regardless of what you think of him as a player and his performance at this tournament, he knows how to operate this champion. He plays around his lane priority extremely well. You're seeing it on your screen right now. Knowing that they have the push in bot, they move into the enemy jungle, they steal away those camps. And BLG mounting a small gold lead here, 9 minutes in.
I will say though, that time Flyquest here had Inspired on the grubs, Inspired focused on the objectives, and that extra bit of experience is really nice for Wukong, collecting those. Looks like they should be able to steal away the blue as well since Quad is rotating over. He's got that mid push.
Yep, Quad's rotating over, and you can see that Whippo is already in the enemy jungle here as well. Bin, of course, does have a farm advantage here on the Ornn, and if you're out farming Renekton early with this powerful late-game scaling tank, I feel like Bin's loving the current state of things. Busio taking a ton of damage on with a big engage. Magnet Storm as Elk Falc's in. Busio's about to die, but he barely stays alive. Now Beishwan showed up. Masu and Busio trying to get away. Masu flashing to try to survive it, and somehow Flyquest live.
Not even close. The Flyquest bot lane live with slivers of HP. The coordination from BLG just slightly missing the mark. And Flyquest bot lane escape death once more.
And even though they keep escaping, the plan from BLG here is to just shut this bottom lane down. Inspired
using the clone early to get up to the tri-brush, see if he can catch anybody, but On has way too much health. There's no way for Inspired to find a kill there.
But BLG know, because of their strategy coming into this game, they're confident in scaling Victor, in scaling Ornn here. So as long as Beishwan uses so much of his focus and this global ultimate you're talking about towards the bottom side of the map, if they shut down this bottom side for Flyquest, then BLG do have a very good route in this game, especially because they were able to get that early dragon.
Feels like the game state feels great right now for BLG with this powerful scaling. Look at the scoreboard. You've got blue numbers, blue leads, BLG gold advantages in 4 out of 5 rolls. Yes, a lot of them are very small, but the 2 biggest leads are for Knight and Elk.
I will say on the 1-item power spike as we see Whippo going in.
Yeah, we do have a couple of problems here for Beishwan. Gets stunned up by Quad, and Whippo calls the meek. Flyquest find their 2nd kill of the game.
A bit better for Flyquest now, getting some extra gold. And I will say, the 1-item power spikes haven't even come in for Flyquest yet, so they still have plenty of time to actually operate as far as this big burst damage that they do want to go for and use their Annie-Wukong combo. Whippo, of course, starting that one out himself and getting the job done.
Okay, so all 3 of those Void Grubs, like you mentioned earlier, went over to Flyquest, but BLG did get that first Drake with the early control that they had. 2nd Drake going to spawn here in about 10 seconds as Bin had his hammer in the air to try to stop Whippo's recall, but just a fraction of a second was enough to allow the Flyquest top laner to complete his recall, complete his purchase. Black Cleaver online now as we check in on the status of teleports with this dragon about to spawn, and critically, BLG have both, Flyquest have neither.
I also just want to take stock of these items because Knight with an 11-minute Rod of Ages, really nice timing on that itemization. The fact that we're seeing the Trini Force Corki come out as well. I'm happy to see it return. We've been seeing a lot of Black Cleavers and Shoujins. I just like the spike that it gives you. BLG already melting through this dragon. It's going to be uncontested. Like, coming into this game, something we talked a lot about in the draft was we want to see Flyquest looking to contest these dragons, but BLG have done such a good job in the early laning phase of putting pressure and delaying these item spikes from Flyquest that naturally they're hesitant to contest for these neutral objectives.
Yeah, I mean, BLG's focus on the bot side has given them so many rewards thus far. let's see what Flyquest can still do, though, as, again, we're looking at the Trinity Force for Wukong to get completed, as well as first item for Quad here, and the Blade of the Ruined King that you've been looking forward to so much, Vedius. So once you get those items in, then we'll start to see Flyquest make the calls to set up their vision, try and get their approach, and the most critical thing there is going to be Quad's flash. Sometimes it can be, you know, Wukong getting into a really nice Fog of War play or something out of vision, but a lot of times the combo does hinge heavily on the anti-flash.
The lane assignments from BLG really efficient here. They've already got Knight on the bot side of the map. They already reset Elk into mid as well, so they've gotten their AD carry and support in position to allow On to start roaming, working with Beishuan, and also chipping away at these towers already. That bot tower is getting incredibly low. And once we get that 14-minute mark, it should be an easy tower to knock over. Now Flyquest are responding, but of course BLG are going to have that opportunity to get another reset up through and start to be making plays on the map with a minute and a half until the Herald.
God, Knight also collecting that fourth plate down there. Just more money in his pockets on this Victor. This is the guy, when you look at BLG's lineup, you expect him to be a top performer. You expect him to come in clutch and be able to carry the games if given the resources. Just ticking over to level 11 now. He'll have the level 2 Chaos Storm for the next big fight. Quad, only level 9 on the ante. Of course, about to tick level 10 as soon as he kills 1 or 2 minions here. But Knight definitely getting the better of the mid lane matchup in this second game. Beishuan versus Inspired 1v1. Inspired's ready to commit the Cyclone. Meanwhile, over in mid lane, Masu's going to be under pressure. Inspired putting the damage into Beishuan. He's already found the kill there. Now Busio and Masu going in after out. Plenty of damage here into the Corki. The bailout for Callista saves her life, but Ben's made his way into the fight. BLG turn it around, and Inspired's got to try to run. Busio fires off a hostile takeover, and Inspired's running for the hills. Busio's going to try to flash to escape, and BLG fire back.
Yeah, the teleport means they do get a kill back. Quad, though, teleports right back out, loses a bunch of HP. The key is that Bwipo did not answer and also teleport in, and so he stayed on top side, still pushing to get that tower.
I mean, that was still a 2-for-1. Beishuan just straight up died. Inspired said, sure, I'll take this 1v1 with pleasure, and he knows that the extended fight, Wukong gets the better of the Pantheon. Utilizing the empowered E was not enough damage. Beishuan flashes early. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it's a bot lane skirmish.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Inspired had just finished his Trinity Force, and he wanted to use it. But there you go. The Ornn call in does get there, and they get a counter kill.
I mean, if you think about it, On also got the kill there, so in terms of gold gained, Flyquest is very happy.
Yeah, I mean, plus Bwipo did finish up that topside tower, as we said, and he's going to have the extra teleport.
I'm killing him. I kill him. I kill him.
He did.
He knew it. He called his shot, and then he shot.
Yeah, so yeah, Trinity Force power spike for Wukong obviously is huge, and the Malignance now does make its way into Annie's pockets. Here we go. Now is the time where they can actually make some plays. Remember, they do have Bwipo teleport ready, but Knight is in the bot lane matching him.
Okay, plate gold plus 2 extra plates, 250 gold there for BLG over Flyquest as Quad and Inspired going to find Bin here in this tribe rush. Inspired jumps in, the Herald still the focus for BLG. TP coming in to try to bring everybody here for the fight as Bwipo's already popped the dominance. Massive damage back in the Quad, and he's already down, but Knight's about to be the same. Mid laners into the picture. Inspired still spinning here with the Cyclone as he tries to get away from Elk. He'll survive for the moment and still stay alive. Busio hit by the call of the Forge God, and now the Renard is down. Bwipo's already lost his ultimate, and BLG bury Flyquest in the river.
In the extended fight, BLG get the better of Flyquest. They go a step too far, and they get punished as a result. On's engages continue to be incredible. He finds such a great angle onto both Inspired and Quad on the backline to set up for BLG to start off on a really good fight. And even though Flyquest got Knight in exchange, it wasn't enough to win out on the fight.
And both of these control wards here make On know that he is not on vision, plus he has perfect vision for his engage. And he got that big wombo. Quad instantly goes down. Then Flyquest actually try and chase a little bit into the Ornn ultimate, and Bin just turns it, and you get that re-engage from On. So CC stacking here. Very nice from BLG on the re-engage.
And you could see Bwipo pop the dominance early so we could have the Fury building. But right there at the end, when they try to re-engage after the Ornn ultimate, the Croc shrinks back down.
The overstep, the ever so slight overstep from Busio, because you're right, like, I guess they just didn't anticipate the Ornn ultimate to come out, because that positioning, that they just didn't really have the resources to continue that fight. The result of that is it's 5-5 in kills. The gold lead largely sits on the top side of the map in favor of Flyquest. But look at this dragon. Flyquest now immediately forced into another fight.
BLG about to hit Soul Point, and Flyquest are not anywhere to try to stop it. They're not rotating towards this. BLG are going to be in a great spot with this Drake stacking going forwards, working towards a potential Ocean Soul 5 minutes from now. And I do have to point out, it is a 1-level lead, a full level for Knight over Quad, and the Rod of Ages has not yet procced. Mid lane is about to go from bad to worse here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, trying to do a little bit of cross map there for Flyquest, but definitely losing out even more on the play. Quad is just so far behind here on the Annie. This is dangerous to hold.
And we're seeing a very similar story to what we saw in game 1 in terms of the gold right now. Quad in some danger, trying to play to the side to use the flash if he has to. Remember that the Tibbers is already down. He does not have that big team fight mechanism. Trying to step up and see what he can do. Boostio's thrown in the middle of everybody. The hostile takeover fires out, but On's got a massive counter engage coming out with a Magnet Storm. Inspired, double knock up here with a Cyclone. As On's taking a ton of damage, and Masu's already got the first kill. The bailout's not going to be enough, and Peishwan might just be croc food. Nice kill for Bwimpo, but Bin's in the middle of everybody. Inspired flashes to try to stay alive, but Elk guns him down. Double kill to the Corki as Flyquest are hurting and stumbling away.
It's a battle in the jungle once more as it ends up being a 2-for-2. Flyquest are the ones that have to limp away. The mid tower does end up falling, and BLG, you can feel that their control over the map just continues to grow.
And it actually starts out here when you see the duo lane for Flyquest walking down lane. Masu is going to throw Boostio in to get an ult combo here with Kalista ult into the Renata ultimate to lock up 2. And then he actually handshakes Peishwan out of his stun right when they go for it. So the opener there was quite good for Flyquest as they get the early lead. But Masu is right there up against the wall and just gets slammed down. So they lose out on their Kalista damage very early on. And then you see Elk and Knight, the two big BLG DPS carries here from the backside, just get to walk forward.
We'll also say that once Quad has spent his resources in the fight, like, it was very difficult for him to contribute that much more. And again, in these extended fights, BLG will just have the advantage. We talked about the scaling edge that they will have the longer this game goes, and with the lead that they currently sit on, with no dragons to their name, Flyquest will find this game only harder and harder to play.
I said earlier that Knight was up 1 level without the Rod of Ages proccing. He is now up 2 almost full levels without it proccing. He will be a level 14 Victor to a level 11 Annie here in just a moment. But one thing that I want to draw your attention to real quick is the fact that the gold advantages for individuals are the same state that they were back in game number 1. It's Knight and Elk ahead for BLG. It's Bwimpo and Inspired with the gold leads for Flyquest.
Yeah, Bwimpo and Inspired trying to be the bruiser threat to pull them through these team fights, but it's going to be so difficult, and that's part of the reason Knight has gone for this tanky build with a lot of the extra HP in it, because he knows he's going to have to deal with some level of Wukong and Annie burst, as well as Renekton into the back line, and so he's kind of that tankier version of the control mage up there.
Level 15.
Yeah, this is kind of a nightmare for Quad. Knight just needs the slightest amount more EXP to be those full 3 levels ahead of his counterpart. Quad's Annie not hitting the levels that Flyquest was hoping for in this game. Otacon has spawned down in the southern half of the map, which is going to make things very interesting. It's less than 2 minutes until what'll be Ocean Soul for BLG spawns. If Flyquest tries to fight to defend that and lose, not only do you give away the Soul, you'll give away the Otacon, and it feels like already 2,000 gold down, that's giving away the whole game.
BLG in a commanding position here in game 2, with full control over the early dragons and just a very effective early game plan.
Flyquest teleport first as well here with Annie. Wonder if they're trying to make some...
Knight did commit his TP to mid to catch that wave. I wonder if he just wanted to secure a bit of extra gold. He's going to go back to base and spend what he can. Dragon going to be spawning in a minute's time, so he's going to have plenty of time. And there is that upgrade, along with a needlessly large rod.
Yeah, we came into this series expecting jungle to be the biggest point of power over his counterpart for Flyquest. We expected the same for mid for BLG. Game number 1, we got to see the inspired Sejuani masterclass really taking over the game and being that win con. This time around, I feel like we're getting the other side of the coin. Knight's Victor just so far ahead of Quad's Annie, 2,000 gold ahead individually on this champion, and he's making his way over towards this bottom side river now. BLG in position, setting up the vision for the upcoming Dragon Soul fight. Inspired immediately popping the clone to walk away there before he takes any more damage. The dragon spawning in 20 seconds means Flyquest don't have a whole lot of time.
Plus, they've got the advantage here for BLG. Knight is able to push mid lane, so Bwipo has to show and catch it.
Elk and Ben just going to go ahead, get this wave pushed up, try to clear this out, but immediately Busio and Matsu are ready to go right after Elk. The Corki's in danger, but he hasn't been killed off yet. Now Matsu and Busio are going to be in trouble. Flyquest is split up. Matsu's going to die here at the very start unless he gets bailed out, but Ben's already killed him. Flyquest are scattering, but BLG are also low. Knight's here with the front line, as Inspired can't find a whole lot else just yet. Goes in for the Cyclone, two-man knockup, and on is down. Inspired trying to keep the fight going as he flashes away from the laser of Knight.
Oh.
The Victor with a flash follow as Bwipo heals back up and takes out Beishwan. He might just be able to bail out, but just at the very last second he doesn't. Busio still gets the shutdown, but Flyquest will be aced. Knight and Ben finish off the last kill, and BLG gets a 5 for 3.
It's Knight level 16 on the Victor, cleaning everything up. The start actually from Flyquest, trying to use the surprise onto Elk in the backside here, but Elk makes distance over to the rest of the team, and then you see the Avengers assemble, Vedius.
The tippers just missing onto Elk was so massive as BLG respond with a beautiful engage from On1 again, and the ultimate from Bin. Immediately he TPs, but just look at Knight. Full HP, he can see the angle where he can kill absolutely everyone. Credit to Bwipo at the very least, taking out On. Inspired is forced to flash. They think, quick, we can get on tonight. He flashes forward to get that last hit onto Inspired. The laser takes out Quad, and Bwipo does what he can. He comes so close to getting that kill, but the extra damage from Knight protects his AD carry for a little bit longer before he falls.
We're already back into the fight as Inspired's exhausted here with the front line. Ben's just juggling him around, and Flyquest have already lost their jungler. On is low, and Bwipo's in the middle of everybody as Beishwan has to try to retreat, but Quad dies to the laser with a Chaos Storm. Busio's the next to fall, and Knight is a hurricane in this team fight. BLG tear Flyquest apart.
Is that Knight from Arcane? He's not even done, boys.
Masu gonna try to get away from this one, but that's Callista versus Knight's Victor, and it's not gonna look too good. You'd have to think Masu falls, and Knight secures the ace.
Knight is a monster. Regardless of the game state, he always finds a way to have an impact. And in this game, he is the raid boss that Flyquest cannot take down.
Here we're going to see in our priceless moment presented by MasterCard at the complete wombo combo that deletes Inspired right at the very beginning of the fight. And that allows BLG to grow this Chaos Storm through the jungle.
I mean, Knight just faces no threat. They can comfortably play the front to back. And with the Pantheon and the, I've forgotten the champion in the top lane, Ornn.
The big fellow with the horn.
Yeah, that guy. Their backline access is so strong that it makes it even harder for the Callista to play. And Knight, when you give him this much space, he just takes over everything.
Yeah, I love it. They call him the golden left hand of the LPL, the left-handed player. He's got a full 1,000 gold if you can kill him, though. So you got to always think when you're behind like this, hey, let's set our goals. If we can kill Knight, that is a large amount of money. That's a very tough job, though.
I was going to say, usually you want to start with small, achievable goals.
The operative word is
if.
And that is a big if in this game. Knight is absolutely tearing through these fights. He has his Zhonya's Hourglass now completed on top of the already tanky build that you were mentioning earlier, Kobe. Killing this guy is going to need to be a perfect engage from Flyquest, completely catching BLG unaware. But BLG have not been playing like that in this game too. They've been coordinating very well. They're having a much better game, and now they're going in after Bwipo. Inspired's already here as well, and Beishwan has jumped in. He's already lost his shield. Inspired is low from Knight's damage, but Masu's about to die instantly. Knight's already gone like Inspired and Masu are both down. Bwipo's got a Sterix, but it won't keep him alive much longer. BLG are so far ahead, and they're making sure Flyquest knows it.
BLG with another fantastic collapse. Beishwan starts off the fight in what seems to be a very scary way for BLG, instantly losing his life. But on the top side of the fight, both Bin and Elk catch out the bot lane of Flyquest, removing them before the fight can really be turned in Flyquest's favor, securing a bunch of kills. They've set their sights on the Baron, and they're looking to equalize this series 1-1.
I mean, Knight is going to be 5,500 gold ahead once they take this Baron.
Yeah.
Every player gets 300 gold for the Baron. With the Baron buff, they're going to go and they will look to siege the Flyquest base.
That siege is not going to take very long to accomplish its objective. BLG, they've got the Dragon Soul. They've got 7,500 gold lead. They are locked and loaded to end this second game.
My only disappointment is Knight. He is a man who is well-read. He loves
Your
reading
Medjais
books.
you want?
And he's got no Medjais in this game. 8-1-6 is the scoreline.
He's a team player. He's got his control wards, Betty. He's got to keep your control ward slot.
That he does. BLG now with the Baron buff. Surely you would expect them to set their sights on the base of Flyquest. They're looking to get control over the bot wave. Top and mid already pushed in. But really, you just need to let Knight do the work. Keep chipping at the HP bars of Flyquest, utilizing that E. You've got to be cautious about leaving him isolated. There's always the possible collapse of the Wukong, and he wisely playing around his vision.
Yeah, I mean, with this Ocean Soul, the siege is insane. They have so much range on BLG, they can constantly be proccing it, and they're going to siege up at these towers over and over and over, and slowly whittle away, not slowly, quickly.
No, that's
they
a
can
wrecking
quickly
ball.
whittle away at the Flyquest base.
Flyquest has hit that point where it just feels impossible to deal with the power of BLG's composition at this stage of the game, at this stage of a lead. BLG smashed through the first line of defense here in the bottom lane. That inhibitor's already gone, and Knight is escorting the wave up mid lane right after. Flyquest trying to deal with the empowered minions. Bin's just staying close enough to keep them all enchanted with the Baron, while the remaining 4 players on BLG make very short work of the tier 3 turret in mid. Now the second inhibitor is already down, and Flyquest are experiencing the same scenario they put BLG through in game number 1. Now, Flyquest will have to try to make their last defense, and BLG will make it a quick one if they have their way. Elk firing some poke. Masu's already at half HP. First Nexus turret about to die as Bwipo goes into Dominus, and BLG happy to just wait it out and continue poking. The minions still alive. Flyquest struggling even to clear these away. Bwipo is going to lose his ultimate before the fight even starts. Beishua goes in for quad. He tries to get away with a flash. Chaos Storm still burning him down, and Knight is legendary. Flyquest, blink and you'll miss him. BLG, wipe him off the rift. A triple kill to Knight as Bwipo gets away back into the fountain. He'll stay alive, but the Nexus won't. BLG, even a score.
BLG come back in a very big way. Controlling this game, really good game plan. They identify the bottom lane, they attack the bottom lane, they keep mid lane down so much and accrue such a large advantage that they honestly had an iron grip on that game.